There is a sound the forest makes just before something changes. Not wind, not birdsong, something older, a sound that lives beneath sound, a vibration your bones understand before your mind does. Listen closely, because what you are about to witness has almost no scientific explanation. And yet it happened. It was witnessed. It was real. And it will break your heart wide open. Deep in the green cathedral of a Pacific Northwest forest, where ancient Douglas firs hold the sky in their arms, and morning fog rolls across the earth like slow breathing, the world operates on a single law: survive. Every leaf, every creak, every silence between footsteps. The undergrowth here is dense, old, and secretive. Moss climbs everything that stands still long enough. Creeks run cold and clear over smooth stones worn down by 10,000 winters. This is a wilderness that does not forgive weakness. And yet, it is here, in this unforgiving place, that the most improbable story of mercy you have ever seen quietly began. Her name was Maple, a 5-year-old golden retriever, the color of autumn, belonging to a property that bordered the tree line. Every morning, her owner, a retired timberman named Earl, would open the back door and let her run. And every morning, Maple would return within the hour, tail swinging, ready for breakfast. But one Tuesday in early April, she did not return. An hour passed, then 2. Earl pulled on his boots. He found her 300 yards into the tree line, completely still, nose pressed to the base of a collapsed fallen log. She did not look up when he called her name. That alone told him something was wrong, or something was very, very right. He stepped closer, and then he heard it. A sound so small it could have been imagined. A thin, reedy cry, barely louder than a whisper. Not 1, not 2, 3 of them. Earl crouched down, peered into the hollow of the rotted log, and looked directly into 3 pairs of pale blue eyes staring back at him from the darkness. Red fox kits, newborns, their eyes only barely open, their bodies no larger than a man's fist, trembling, alone. The den around them was cold, the mother gone. How long they had been alone no one could say, but long enough. Long enough that without intervention there would be no tomorrow for any of them. Earl reached toward them. Maple moved first. Not aggressively, not to block him. She simply lowered herself to the ground, curled her large golden body into a crescent moon shape around the mouth of the hollow, and looked up at Earl with an expression he would later describe as the clearest thing he had ever seen on any living face. She wasn't asking permission. She was making a decision. He pulled his hand back. Maple laid her chin on the earth, and the crying stopped. One by one, slowly, blindly, guided entirely by warmth, the 3 kits crawled forward. They pressed their tiny bodies into the thick gold fur of an animal that by every rule of nature should have meant their end. Maple did not flinch. She did not growl. She exhaled slowly, deeply, and closed her eyes. Her body heat wrapped around them like a heartbeat. For the first time in what must have felt like forever, the kits were warm. Earl brought them all inside that night. What followed was not simple. Wild animals carry their wildness with them even in their most vulnerable hours, and Earl knew better than most that what Maple had begun was not a rescue so much as a responsibility. A wildlife rehabilitator named Dr. Grace Holloway drove out from the nearest town, assessed the kits, and left shaking her head slowly, not in despair, but in disbelief. "I've been doing this for 22 years, she told Earl quietly. "I have never seen anything like this." The kits, 2 females and a male, whom Earl privately named Ember, Rust, and Flint, thrived under Maple's warmth with supplementary bottle feeding through those critical early weeks. They nursed against her belly.
They slept piled on top of her enormous paws. When nightmares made them twitch in their sleep, Maple would lift her head and lick each one in turn until the trembling stopped. She woke when they woke. She settled when they settled. She was, without qualification, their mother, wearing a different coat, speaking a different language, and not caring one bit about either. Weeks passed, then a month, then 6 weeks. The kits began to move with the quick electric energy that all foxes carry, darting, leaping, spinning. Ember discovered Earl's garden hose and declared war on it. Rust spent 3 days trying to carry a pine cone larger than her own head. Flint, the smallest, the quietest, spent most of his time pressed against Maple's side, watching the world with copper-bright eyes that missed nothing. It was Flint who nearly broke the story's heart. 10 weeks in the blue stillness of a Thursday morning, Earl found Maple pacing the back porch in a way he had never seen before, frantic, back and forth, whining low in her throat. He counted quickly. Ember, Rust, no Flint. He felt the cold move through him before his mind caught up to his body. The fence property had a gap behind the old woodshed, a gap large enough for a small, adventurous fox kit who had no mother's instinct warning him about the road beyond it. Earl ran. Maple ran beside him without being told to, her paws throwing up gravel as she bolted past the woodshed, squeezed through the gap, this enormous golden dog compressing herself through a space she barely fit, and within 30 seconds had located Flint sitting motionless in the middle of a gravel farm road, frozen with fear. A truck's engine idling 30 meters away. Maple placed herself between the vehicle and Flint. She did not move. The truck stopped. The driver stepped out, saw what stood before him, and quietly waited while Maple herded the kit, gently, persistently, step by patient step, back through the gap in the fence and home. Earl fixed the gap that afternoon. His hands shook the entire time. Dr. Holloway returned at 14 weeks. She walked the property with Earl, watched the 3 foxes move through the tree line in the early light, quick, sharp, fully wild, fully healthy, and wrote in her report the words, "optimal outcome." Earl did not have the vocabulary for what he was feeling, so he did not say anything. He just watched Ember vanish into the undergrowth like a flame going sideways. He watched Rust follow, a flash of copper. And he watched Flint pause at the edge of the trees, turn back once, look directly at Maple sitting at Earl's heel, and then disappear. Maple did not follow. She watched the tree line for a long time. Then she leaned against Earl's leg, and he put his hand on her head, and neither of them moved for a while. Here is what the forest never gave those 3 kits: a fair start. Here is what they got instead: a golden dog who decided the rules didn't apply to her, a retired man who stepped back and let something ancient and instinctual take charge, and 3 small lives that made it out the other side of their worst odds, healthy, wild, and free in the forest that tried to swallow them whole. Nature is indifferent, we know this, but every once in a while, something inside nature looks at its own rules, pauses, and chooses differently. Maple chose differently, and because she did, somewhere in those old green trees right now, 3 red foxes are running, and the debt of that kindness will ripple forward in ways no instrument can measure. That, in the end, is justice enough. If this story moved you the way it moved us, like this video and subscribe so you never miss the moments that remind us what kindness looks like in the wild.